Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Brave Cat here once again with another Frontier Signals update. So before I cover things I'm going to cover for today, I have started working on the Pole Shift Star Map project. So it's very much in the rough stages here, and just kind of proof of concept here basically. I need to mute that. Alright, so what I've got so far here, we got the star map, and you can change the pole position, so basically the orientation of the Earth here, and it changes the orientation of the star map. So again, this is really in a rough stage here, and eventually I want this to look more like a traditional kind of star map like this. Over here we see on stellariumweb.org. So this is kind of what I'm going for here. And hopefully with the added ability to be able to take any orientation and basically create your own star map that you can print out. So I think that'd be pretty cool here. Don't know exactly what all these, degrees function as here. And then you can also take things to whichever time of the year, so different seasons, different star maps, etc., and also the different hemispheres. So again, this is kind of a proof of concept. That's kind of the direction I'm going in here for that. So this is not on the website. This is just a random template here, just as an example. So, all right, regarding the coronal mass ejection that is coming towards Earth right now, I don't throw too much shade too often, but I gotta say, I like Stefan Burns. I've given him a lot of chances of watching his content, but I mean, the clickbait is just too much for me at this point. Like saying that in 2 days, Earth's magnetic field will split apart. I just can't do it anymore. The better use of my time right now is like watching these two Australians drink themselves to death. That's entertainment at least. So anyways, before I get too off topic here, we do have that CME headed our way, and it is directly coming at us, but it was only an M2 flare, but we could still expect, especially just from the NOAA's prediction here, to see a G1 to G2 geomagnetic storm. So that's going to be the S1, S2 range, or the G1, G2 range, sorry. But, if we see something more than that, can't really be too surprised, because again, the magnetic field is weakened, and, stuff like this impacts our planet a lot more than it would have even just 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Especially in the last couple years, that's when we've been seeing all the auroras at mid-latitudes, including all the way down as south as Florida. So that's ridiculous. So we'll see what happens. And other than that here, we can take a look at the Farside sunspots. So we have a few regions here on the far side. And, depending on what these do, it might just do what it did a couple weeks ago where they just kind of vanished. But, it kind of seems like the time frame when these could start potentially facing Earth is going to be around early April when, we have the sun diving comet, the Ryger cycle uptick, and again, the next major window to be looking for solar activity. So we already see what's going on the far side, at least, kind of preliminary data here. This is using, I believe, sound waves to essentially look through the sun and, be able to potentially detect these sunspot groups. So we'll see what happens in, a couple, 2-3 weeks, see if those end up being anything. So I do have some other plans on the website here. Definitely excited for the next few weeks of what I can do there. But let's go ahead and take things over to Earthquake 3D, where we do have a sudden influx of earthquakes here. So we've had a 5.8 strike over here by Cuba. And then, 4s kind of relentlessly all over the place. We got 5s down here. And we also have a new set of 5s over here, including even into Russia. So this is a 4.9, but, you know, basically a 5. So we have that influx of activity. And then looking at the west coast here, this tremor swarm that's just been nonstop over here by the San Francisco Bay Area, just north of it. This has not slowed down. In fact, it's actually sped up. So we've got 3s creeping their way down from the 4 that struck here. Now we got 3s creeping their way in. And again, I think we could expect something in the 4 range. But honestly, with this huge stack of tremors that's ongoing, you know, could also be building up its own pressure as well. Or releasing it, really. It could kind of go either way. So, I don't know. A little bit of a watch here for the Bay Area. And again, potentially even down by LA. Kind of seems to be the middle point. But we're just kind of testing theories here. And other than that, things have been pretty much the same. So we take a look at Europe here. We did have another 3 down here by Italy. And over in Greece, we've had another 4 with this same area here. So this is, you know, all the pressure is just kind of wrapping right around here. So still something to keep an eye on. But we haven't seen anything too disturbing yet, at least. And then taking a quick look at the tremor map, there has been some more activity down here in Northern California. So still got some more slow slip events going on there. It's like one of these is actually right at Shasta. So that's interesting. But other than that here, we take a look at the volcanic activity. So we still have that volcano in France doing its thing. So it seems like the island that this is on is basically being expanded by the volcanic activity. So you can just see the lava stream here. It goes pretty far, it's reached the ocean, and it's just kind of dumping out there, creating new land on the island, so that's kind of cool. But other than that here, pretty short list so far for the 17th. We've got Kamchatka still going off. This is actually a 32,000 foot high blast. So that is one of the bigger blasts that I've seen on this list in a while. Sangay still going off. Wago still going off. But overall, in terms of the descriptive events here, still a pretty short list for the most part. Let me just refresh this actually and see. So yeah, what I wanted is just to take a look at the big list. So I guess if we take a look at yesterday's, you can see the full list of volcanoes here, and I mean this red list, the ones of actual ongoing eruptions. Again, just the disparity between the warnings and the eruptions seems to be slightly growing once again. So I'm curious to see what this is going to look like by the end of the year and how this compares to last year. But you know, I seem to have too many projects and like too many sets of data I'm trying to look at. I don't know how people like Ben Davidson do it. He really does have a gift for this stuff. So, you know, just kind of getting my toes wet here, doing what I can. But that seems to be mostly what we got going on for today. Just a couple more posts here on X. We've got what looks to be a AI program developed to look at and map museum artifacts to their point of origin. So that's kind of interesting here. I haven't looked at the full video, but that's a pretty cool thing they got going on here. Definitely want to know more about that. And then looks like there was another landslide over here in Italy this time. So yeah, you wouldn't want to be standing in front of this. Looks like a pretty gnarly one, just kind of happened out of nowhere. And let's see, just one last little look here. So we take a look. This is where that 3 struck. This was a more shallow 3, still 61 kilometers deep, so not really too shallow, but not as deep as the 300-kilometer ones we've been seeing. And again, some of the same kind of tremor activity going on at the volcanoes, but nothing too crazy. So I think with that, pretty much wrap things up here for today's update. So I hope you enjoyed, got something out of it for today. Please like and subscribe for more. Share this video if you dare, and I'll catch you all in the next.